Hey everybody, I'm just doing my thing on my computer and thought I'd live stream for a bit. One of the things that's on my mind that I think I might start with is n8n and Zapier. And I've been using n8n almost exclusively for the past couple months. I'm trying to get my head wrapped around it, and it's coming together quickly. And I really enjoy n8n, but I've used Zapier for pretty much the past decade, and that's the interface that I know best. And so I'm still doing client work in Zapier. So that's kind of what I know and what I know well. So it's been interesting to explore n8n and still continue to use Zapier. So maybe I thought I'd take a look at both of those and see if I don't know, anything jumps out at me between those two. One thing is the visual diagramming kind of nature of them. That's one thing I want to check out right now. So let me see. I'm gonna pop me down into pip mode, and then let me see. I want to see if I can I use eCam software for this kind of thing. And so, yeah, there we go. I just output the video monitor to my Elgato prompter. So now when I'm looking at the camera, the prompter, I can see my screen with the picture-in-picture down there. And that's what I want to be sharing. So hopefully I won't forget to kind of go back and forth between that and full camera mode. I use the Stream Deck to switch between those. Right now we're looking at my I just started using Go High Level again. I explored it 8 months ago sometime within the last year. I explored Go High Level, but I abandoned it. But here I am. I'm back to using it again, and I don't have anything much set up in here except for under sites. I've got my OK Computer funnel, and I've got the landing page and page for content flow. So let's take a look. Here we go. So this is the landing page for my OK Computer, my automation business. And then I have a link up here to content flow. And when you go to that, I'm not sure why this is still blurry. Maybe it's just a cache thing. But content flow is my YouTube to LinkedIn product I'm working on. And right here it says upload your video to YouTube. Content flow creates 5 LinkedIn posts automatically based on your transcript. So that's pretty boring and dry. I'm going to work on something more enticing than that language. But anyway, I don't know. I'm off on a tangent here. So what I want to do is I want to go to n8n and yeah, let's see. So let me just do let me do this. Let me put this to the side. And then maybe I'll do Safari. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to do Safari on the right-hand side. And then I'm going to go, gosh, I haven't used my own instance of Zapier in a while. So let me log into that. All these little eCam floating windows are kind of in the way right now. Let me turn off a couple of them. I don't need them all. Okay, let's log in here. Okay, so one of the things that is just, as I crystallize my thoughts on n8n, why do I like it so much? And this this is not me bashing Zapier or saying n8n is better or worse. They have their pros and cons, and like I say, I've been using Zapier for at least 10 years, and um, I'm totally used to that interface. So, switching to n8n is the new thing, but it really resonates with me. And here, let me just shrink that down. Let's just go up here to create a workflow in n8n. Okay, and so you can see it's got this canvas here, and it says add first step. So I'm going to click on that, and you can do any number of things, but I'm going to just do trigger manually. And this is one thing, just to start, again, not bashing Zapier, but this is definitely something that I have wanted in Zapier for years, is the ability to just drop some kind of a manual trigger on like that. And if Zapier has it now, I'm not aware because I just haven't bothered looking. Or maybe Zapier had it. I don't think so, and I just overlooked it. That could be the case, but I don't think so. And so every time I would, or not every time, but so what would happen is I would be in Zapier. I would go to create a Zap, and then they didn't have all this Copilot and all this kind of stuff back in my day, and so not taking that into account with what I'd have to do with the trigger is you click on trigger, and then this is where I always wanted some kind of just like I did over here in n8n, just say, hey, just give me a manual trigger. And I'm looking here and I'm thinking, okay, I still don't see that. I would always, or not always, but I would often either create a schedule or a webhook, mostly webhooks actually, but either one. Basically, I would just put them in place because they were just some way to have a trigger. You need a trigger to get something done. Oftentimes, I would set it up with webhooks and then send a webhook from Postman in order to kick things off. So it wasn't a big deal, but it just definitely took a bit of time. So that's just one thing I wanted to call out because I'm loving the way n8n has things like this in place. But the thing about n8n that I love the most is just that you're working with this canvas and you have these nodes here. And so if I want to do something now based on this manual trigger, I click the plus and then I do something. So, like Airtable. I do like, I'll point out some things that I've also stumbled across as I'm learning this environment that are just really nice. So as I type up here, of course, it whittles down the options based on the letters I'm typing. So here I am at Airtable, and then there's other options as well. And there's this little red line next to Airtable, which means if I hit enter, it's going to, select the thing with the red next to it. So I can move my keyboard, arrows up and down to kind of cycle through this. So what this is telling me is that it's got strong keyboard controls. Again, Zapier may have them and I'm just not aware, or maybe they didn't used to have them, or I just hardly ever used them. I don't know, but using these keyboard shortcuts in n8n has been great. So Airtable, I'm just going to hit enter, and then we have all of our different options here. Get many bases. Let's just do like, I don't know, create a record. How about that? Let's create a record. Okay, and then so what'll be interesting is on the right-hand side, so I'm gonna have Zapier, right? So I was thinking maybe I could do a couple of these same things here. It's a little bit of a comparison. But one thing, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to think about, was the whole diagram thing. Because when I first started using Zapier, and for the first, so many years, this was literally the only kind of way to build things, was just kind of top down, and these little items, these boxes that kind of connect to each other. So that's really all I know. But they do have Canvas. Here we go. Canvas. I've played with it once or twice. I was exploring it, but honestly, I kind of abandoned it pretty quickly. I don't really remember much about it. But I think this is their solution to approaching the building of zaps kind of in a way that n8n just defaults to. So I want to just do, and I don't know, do they charge you extra for this? I don't know. I'm going to create a canvas and find out if they'll let me without upgrading. Get a system recommendation, create a canvas for you. Now I want to just explore. So what shall we build? I don't know. Airtable lookup bot. Okay, it's got an AI suggestion loading. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't want bots asking for me, my opinion on what I want to build. I just want to build something. So let me do this. Add a step. Oh, so okay. Well, I don't necessarily want this to be me learning Zapier's canvas, but already I can realize that I'm not. It's not behaving the way I recall trying it, or maybe this is just a new thing that I'm not familiar with. So I see down below here, we've got Zapier assets. So is this a Zap right here? I drag it up here, place it, search Zap, link existing. Edit linked Zap, change app. I honestly don't know what is going on here. Created by Canvas, view asset. Okay, so this is creating the Zap, and that's, yeah, see, just, I don't know. If this feels very much bolted on to Zapier, in my opinion, just having not really used it for a while and only having dabbled in it a little bit before. Again, this might be good for some people, but already it's just so fundamentally different. It feels different from how n8n approaches this kind of thing that I'm just a bit thrown off here. So I'm going to say trigger, okay, go to Zap. I don't know, I'm in view only mode. So let me go to Zap. Okay, and then I'm kind of back to starting a Zap. But now I'm like out of the canvas. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm honestly thrown off by this. Maybe I need to just kind of sit on it for a little bit. But let me go back to n8n and let me step out of here. So we've got our canvas. We can move things around, stretch them out, put it up here, move it here, move it there. I can remove connections. I can remake a connection like that. The thing that I'm dialing into is that not only that, but I could do like a Gmail or something. Let's just say create a draft. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to step out of this for a moment, but here I am, and now I can grab this. I can drag it there. So, okay, as someone coming from Zapier to this, to n8n, working on a canvas natively, dragging things around, just attaching and reattaching them like this. Those are awesome features. The way that's implemented just makes my brain click. So I really like that. Let's go in. Let me just and then another thing so let me get back out of here. So I don't know. Look at this canvas thing. I don't know what to make of it. So I'm just going to go back to what I do know, which are Zaps, and those are here's your Zaps. They're all in folders, and you can drill into them and open them up. And let me just say like this. If you're not familiar, this is kind of the way it looks in Zapier, as you have your trigger and all the transformations and lookups and everything else you're doing here. And then, at the end, you're kind of done. And it's interesting. There's a canvas back here, so I can, but I can't like, I can't like grab something and move this around. It's just very structured, very, you're following a path here in Zapier. In n8n, let's see a couple more things that I'm thinking about that appealed to me, or just things that are kind of shortcuts or tips and tricks that I've learned that have been helping me quite a bit. Let's say I want to change the name of this node here. Different ways to do it, but if you just hit spacebar, that's the kind of quickest way to do it. Airtable, so I could say, get Airtable record. And I like that you can just hit enter and it dismisses the window. It goes away. I don't have to use the mouse to click OK. Really, really thoughtful kind of stuff like that. I like this. I think it's if you do Shift S, maybe. Yeah, Shift S. That creates a new sticky note. And this has got markdown inside of it. So it's 2 hashtags is like a header too. So I could say, Airtable and Gmail bot or something like that. And then I could say, this workflow is going to be awesome. Okay, and then I could take that and I could change the color of it. Let's make it like blue. I'm going to move it up here. I'm going to click on this little zoom to fit. And I'm noticing now that's the number 1. So I'm going to start trying to get used to that. Number 1, zoom to fit. I like that you can do things like this with like sticky notes. And I'm probably going to sound like a old man complaining about the weather or something, but when you use Zapier for as long as I have, I was using it before there were paths and other features that are pretty much critical to getting anything done. But they didn't have the ability to add comments. The only thing that I could ever do, let me look in Zapier. Oh, notes. I don't know. Maybe they had notes, but I do know that under Zap details. Yeah. Maybe I guess they moved things around, but in details they used to have like a notes field or a description field, and I sometimes use that. I kind of abandoned that after a while, though. I don't know. Just one more thing to do, but they do have notes here, so that's good. Yeah, notes. Okay, so this is just a resume editing, edit existing draft. Okay, so they have a nice little notes field here. That's great. And they also added step notes. So that's pretty cool. Like if I say, okay, why, create folder in Google Drive, I could create a note specifically for that step. We store these in the archive folder, right? Something like that. And now you have notes that are associated to the actual step, and that's where you can view notes. So that's great. I like that they added that. With n8n, you just make sticky notes here, and you can move them around, and they support Markdown, and then you could do things like highlight an entire section to kind of help define blocks or sections of your code, which is a really great way to do it visually. And that's something I'm learning about in one of the school communities I'm a part of called Scrapes.ai or Scrapes AI Academy. And Simon, the leader, founder of that school community, he has like best practices for naming conventions for nodes and color schemes and sticky note approach and all that to have really formalized and easy to read workflows in n8n. So I'm starting to adopt that, just like here, like get Airtable record. That's the format that he goes by, and I'm starting to adopt that as much as possible. Okay, so let me see. I've mentioned a few things like just the native canvas feature, is just works for my brain to be able to just kind of have a canvas where you're just moving things around, and I kind of like the fluidity of that, honestly, versus the rigidity of Zapier. Um, and I like some of their design decisions, like the just here add a sticky note. It's not there's nothing more to it than that. We all know how sticky notes work. You just write down with your pen on a sticky note and then you stick it somewhere. That kind of metaphor works really well, and I love that they've embraced that. Yeah, let me see. Let me poke around here and just say, oh, so yeah, I'll just point out some other things that have kind of appealed to me. Right here, as you're working on your workflows, you have these logs down at the bottom here, and so you get like a real-time view as they unfold. You can also go into executions right here at the top, and it will show you the executions of that workflow. I don't think I've explored leave without saving. I don't think I've explored evaluations yet. Test your AI workflow over multiple inputs. AI workflow. Interesting. I don't know what this is. Also, wire up a test data set. Google Sheet. Okay. Trigger. Write workflow outputs back to data set. Set up a quality score. Okay. That seems really interesting. I don't know. I don't know anything about it yet. So I like the way you have short keyboard shortcuts. I like that you have a canvas. Let's go in here. Oh, I like how they have, like, right here, execute step. You can be in a node or not in a node, and you can execute a particular step. I also like so I did that before, space to rename. It's just you have some helpful options when you right click. Some of the only ones I've really been dealing with are rename. I've executed the step, but I've done that by mainly pressing this little play button, this arrow here. I've deactivated. I've gotten used to the letter D. Deactivates a node. D, and then D reactivates it. Tidy up workflow. I've been kind of skipping that lately, though, because I'm trying to embrace this kind of deal where you put a certain color sticky note behind, and so once you start kind of going down that path, you're being a little more picky about where these things get placed, and so to kind of like tidy up the workflow, which I guess you can do from here, is Shift Option T, but I've kind of done it. Yeah, tidy up, Shift Option T down here. I didn't realize you could choose this little drop down thing and do tidy up workflow from here. Seems interesting that they would put that kind of a global thing on a node drop down. Convert node to sub workflow. I think I did that once during one of my tutorials I've been watching. Select all, clear, delete. I've deleted things, of course. Okay, so now let's see. What else can we take a look at here? You just click on the name of the node up here. You can rename it test, delete, me. You can add tags. I've been adding a few tags like content flow and admin, error handling, things like that. Let's just make a test tag, and that's how n8n files things away. There's no notion of a folder structure, but that I know of, but you do have things like there's this, when you go to overview, this shows everything. But if you go to personal, workflows and credentials owned by you. Oh no, it does have folders. That's right. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, you can create folders. So it has folders and tags. Yeah, I don't know. I've been using folders here, and I kind of forgot about that. But it's just a little weird because you start off an overview, then you go to personal, and then you jump into the folder. I've been having to just find myself getting, even though that's pretty straightforward. I don't know. I've been still trying to map that to my brain, and then I'm just kind of realizing lately that, yeah, you know what, on the overview, it surfaces what you were working on most recently, I think, towards the top. So it's kind of easy to just jump back into a workflow that you've been working on. What's this? Oh, I had a sticky note. Okay, so I'm still discovering things. Like when I've come up here, that little sticky note thing highlights, and I just haven't noticed that before. Yeah, I don't know what this error is on my Zaps, but if I come back to Zapier, so they also have this kind of view, and for whatever reason, when I see these kind of things, it's like on my Mac when there's a folder called, all recent or whatever. I don't know. It's just this wall of zaps. It just I'm kind of old school. I like tags and labels, but I also like just old school. Hey, give me the folder. Okay, there we go. The email octopus. There we go. Those are my tests. Haven't messed with these in quite a while. But yeah, see schedule. And I don't think that was how I triggered this Zap. So I'm curious if they have. I wonder if let's see, Zapier manual trigger. Let's just take a look here. Now this was 2 years ago, so yeah, I don't know. This seems kind of old, so I'm not sure if I want to go by that. But I don't know. I'd be curious if Zapier has the ability to manually trigger something. Let's do this. Create a new Zap. This is how I do it normally, and I don't mess around with this AI help me build a bot stuff. I go straight for the trigger, and then let me just. Did I try this manual? No. Let's see. Apps AI custom webhooks, utilities, code app status. Wow, do they still not have a way to manually trigger a Zap? Maybe not. Yeah. Let me see if anything else jumps out at me. Oh, let me just kind of point out what happened to my camera? Oops. Let me see if I can restart my camera. I don't know how long my camera was out, but yeah, it was turned off earlier today as well. And I'm wondering if it's gonna be a problem. I hope not. So what was it? I was gonna mention, self-hosting. Well, I mean, that's just the fundamental difference between Zapier and n8n. I'm hosting n8n on a I don't know, on DigitalOcean. I don't know what they call it, an app or something. No, actually, I'm not hosting it there. I'm hosting other things there. I'm hosting n8n on railway.com, and it's like $7 a month. I just got my invoice for that for the last month, and it was like $7. And with Zapier, I don't even have a paid account right now because I just don't use it enough. And it'd be at least $20 or more, at least $20, probably $20 to $30 a month. And that would be, only so many zaps and steps and all that stuff. And even then, I don't think I had a minimal access to like their tables. I think I had one or two tables and interfaces. And just with n8n, that's just almost like shocking. And to me is like to get used to the idea that I'm running an automation environment that I don't have to think about price per whatever. The only time I really am thinking about that nowadays is, besides just the railway cost of hosting n8n, but the APIs that I'm paying for, Claude and OpenAI and all that stuff, that's really where the money is going out as far as like subscriptions and everything. So yeah, just to be free of the thought of cost for Zapier or make.com. I spent some months digging in deep on make.com as well. Really pretty interface, and a joy to kind of use their UI. My computer just switched into nighttime mode. It's almost 9:30 p.m. I wonder why it turned just now versus earlier. It seems just like it's been dark for a while. Also this has been, look at this, see how my Apple menu is like activated right now. I did not do that. And there's some gremlin on my Mac mini right here that we're looking at. But I also noticed it did that on my laptop, which is just to the left of me. It did that as well today. And that kind of spooked me a little bit because I thought it was just something going on my main Mac and something else triggering that. I've been trying to clean the keyboard and quitting different apps to see which one could be causing that. But the fact that it happened on my laptop really got me a little bit concerned. I hope there's nothing weird going on. But anyway, yeah, anything else? How about you all? Anybody using n8n in my audience? What do you think about it? I haven't really explored. Well, one thing, so I have looked at these templates, but I was not able to install one. And I don't know, I started thinking, maybe you need to be hosted on the n8n cloud, which I think is a really good idea for some people who, aren't going to bother or don't want anything to do with self-hosting, whether that's in your own home lab or, somewhere like DigitalOcean or Railway or whatever. But these templates, I think maybe they're only available to those on the n8n cloud. I'm not quite sure. Let's see, n8n. What are they? .io. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I think I looked for that through like a Kagi search to see if you could use templates on a self-hosted thing, and I couldn't find the answer I was looking for. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm going to now either. But the thing, I guess the real deal thing about n8n for a lot of people, and what I'm getting into is the whole AI agent thing. So it's right here at the top. Maybe that's just because no, it's not in alphabetical order. It's at the top. So look at this AI templates. See what's possible. And that jumps right into the templates here. So yeah, I got to find out if that's available to me or not. But down here, so like AI agent, OpenAI, LLM chain. I've only played around with some of these, but OpenAI, let's say you do this and you want to, generate an image. Let's say Dolly, a cute cat eating a dinosaur. Let's say so for content flow, I've been trying out this kind of thing. YouTube content moving via an electric current to LinkedIn. And then it's got my credentials up here, OpenAI, and you can see those are my only credentials. That's the red one here. I could create new credentials in case I got a different API key or something. But that's kind of the equivalent of when you're in where's the if I come out of Zaps, here we go, app connections in Zapier. So I have all these different connections to different platforms and things, and so like in here, OpenAI would be one of my options. And so here we are, resource image. We'll leave it like that. Operations can be generate an image, but you'll have these different things you could choose. You get to choose the model, you enter the prompt, and now it says on the left, it says there's no input data. So on the left, you have input. On the right, you have output. It's still taking me a bit of time. I mean, I get it, comes in, you're transforming it or whatever you're doing, and then you've got your output. And so, yes, it makes sense to me, but still, this must be just something lingering from my Zapier days that seeing this in n8n has been one of these things that for some reason my brain has had to adjust to. And it definitely makes sense the more I use it, but for whatever reason, I'd point that out, that it takes me a bit mentally to just kind of see things this n8n way versus whatever I've normally used to in Zapier. I think I can just hit execute step right now because this doesn't depend on any input before it. Let's try that. Execute previous. No, so maybe I do need to do something. So let me just get rid of this. Let me wire up these two. Let me get rid of that. We have our two nodes. When clicking execute workflow, do this thing. Okay, so let me click on execute workflow, and at the bottom you can see here, this is what I was talking about, how like you have this kind of this console right here. It's just telling you what's happening. So if I click on OpenAI, it gives me a status update. And then I love that in n8n it was doing the little arrows up here to show you, hey, there's activity on this node, there's things happening. That visual element to n8n is fantastic. Let me see. So it says we got green check marks. So that says that it's like, did something, it's successful. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click into OpenAI. Yeah. And then, so here we go. Let's look at the input. It passes along all this, information, which could be useful. You've got the thing you're doing right here, and then there's output on the right. And so for this, it's outputting an image. It's PNG. And this is cool because we can click view and see, ooh, look at that. That's pretty cool. I'm much happier with that than some other images I've explored. That's really cool. And so what I could do and go back to list, I could download that. And you also have, let me see, let's do 70. You can look at your output different ways, and this is really handy because if we look at it through schema, we can see one item here at a time, and it would show what is this thing made up of, file size, file name, etc. You can also look at that as a table. You can also look at it as JSON, which for whatever reason I tend to default to JSON for me. Binary is what we were looking at. And I like that, and I've used this quite a bit because I chat with, Claude basically all day, every day. And oftentimes I'll be working with Claude on, content flow in n8n, and it will, something will be, we're working on something. And so I'll want this information here. And so instead of trying to, highlight it all with my mouse and everything, I like that n8n just includes this little copy to clipboard button right there. I use that quite a bit. And then this has been really cool too, is this pin data. I guess you can't pin it if it's binary, but what you can do is you can pin the contents of a node and then use that information again and again while it's still pinned. And that's nice because that's come in handy, especially with AI and the, I was going to turn on my light. Let me see if maybe I won't. This is fine. But let me see. I kind of lost my train of thought here. Like with AI, yeah, that's right. So it costs money every time to run an AI, process and have it come back. And so sometimes if you do that and you're happy with the results and you're just kind of in testing mode and you don't really need it to go fetch new, information every time, just pin it, and then it'll use the pinned version in your testing instead of reaching out and taking up credits and you having to pay more money. Couple other things jump to mind that I've been really impressed with and just fundamentally noticed that the way it works is interesting to me. This whole inactive active thing here. So if we do this, if I hit tab, which is also another shortcut that I've learned, it opens up the search nodes field. And if I do a webhook, starts the web flow. So we have a webhook here. So it's got a test URL and it's got a production URL. So this as well took me a little bit to really kind of understand, but I think I've got it now. When you're in testing mode, meaning it's inactive, then you use the test webhook. But when you turn it to active, then the production URL webhook comes into play. So that's the thing that I just didn't quite understand at first, was that it was basically dependent on active and or inactive. And it's interesting because that's really handy, but you also need to really think about how you're triggering or how you can seamlessly trigger things. And so I'll maybe go into this more in a future video, but I'm also in another school community where Stephen Pope runs no code architects, and he has a method in Airtable where you have a setting basically. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I want to show an example of this. Actions, variables. Here we go. Okay, I'm in my content flow Airtable, and the right here, there's under system n8n production. It's set for true right now, and there's code in the, I believe it's in the automations, or it's either in the automations or n8n. I think it's in n8n. Yeah, the n8n that will refer to this value in the variables table when it executes the workflow, basically, and it knows how to adjust that URL from test to production based on this flag here. So it's brilliant. I need to really soak this in a little more to really fully understand it. But at a base level, you're moving, you're placing a flag for a production environment inside Airtable, setting it to true or not true, and that helps you with your testing. And then when you're ready to flip the switch, you just change this to true and turn your workflow on, and then all the webhook calls that use the webhook URL will adjust accordingly. Basically remove, I believe it's the word webhook -test. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna delete that node here. So those were some of the things I think I wanted to point out about n8n. There's probably plenty more, but I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Again, not a comparison, or not a. I guess it's definitely a comparison between n8n and Zapier, but it's not like pros and cons, or these are the things I don't like. It was more just about things that I've noticed moving from Zapier to n8n that kind of stand out to me, that make me really enjoy using n8n. All right, I'm out.